Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took his knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out from heaven, "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." Well, Game of Thrones didn't get that memo. And the Lord of Light was like, nah, just carry on. Horrific. You're watching. I'm not religious. Just saw that there's a lot of religious sort of referencing there with Abraham and Isaac and Shireen and Stannis. And I think he's lost a lot of people who are following him. But do I think they did it badly? No. I think whilst it was very difficult to watch, and it was, you didn't want her to be burnt at the stake, it was done well, done in the right way, unfortunately. We don't see it afterwards. They could have easily just shown us her burning, and that could have been horrendous. The mother's reaction was what really sells it as horrific, because of her pained sort of screams. Imagine if they ended on Shireen being burnt at the stake. That seems like the kind of Game of Thrones, let's do it because it'll annoy people, kind of ending. But they seem to have either learned, or because their budget was bigger on the end, they've changed it. Whilst I didn't like what was happening, I liked the fact that they did it differently. The dawn scenes, oh dear. That's all I'm saying on that, can't be bothered. Right, so the best thing about that was when Dr. Bashir...
May I ask you a question? Do I annoy you?
Said, "Are you with us or are you against us?" And his sister was like, "Sure, yeah, why not? I'm with you." But it was such a random, weird... And now she gives up. Play with that more. Don't just have this pouring out the wine as if, you're gonna be against your king for all the time. Just play with the backwards and forth of the trepidation that she clearly feels for her ruler in Dawn, and the fact that she wants retribution, not just kind of, I'm completely against you, now make a choice. But season 6 will have the prince in King's Landing. Interesting again, not a bad thing. Pretty young to be on the small council, but might bring some wisdom. So two things. Arya led on her path, and she obviously sees the King's Guard, Sir Meryn Trant, and yes, she wants to kill him, and we're given even more reason for her wanting to kill him. It's like they just went, what have we had this season? We've had some rape, had lots of murder. Do you know what we're missing out on? Let's get some paedophilia in there. Yeah, let's just really ramp it home. Give that small child the rosiest of cheeks in the world. And yeah, people are going to hate him. It's all right, people hate him already. The question I'll have is, how far will they go when Arya is placed in front of him? Because that's clearly what they're leading to. And as Jaqen said, a girl has work to do. And so, God, we hope it doesn't mean brothel work. We just hope it means murdery work of the bad guys. Fine by me. So the Great Games came in really well. It came at a point where we'd sort of seen Shireen being sacrificed, and whilst it didn't instantly just jump to fighting, it kind of eased the transition away from that scene, and it gave us a very large sort of Colosseum with atmosphere and a little bit of humour with Daenerys and her boyfriend. That was class, just this back and forwards. And they used a beheading as a joke, so... Well, only in Game of Thrones. Jorah just won't take the hint, will he? Seriously, she said no, like, what, 3-4 times now? Just seriously, get the hint, son. You're not wanted. But then again, they've kind of U-turned it a bit, and she's giving all the, don't die, eyes. Oh, is he about to die? Please don't die. Oh, I can't say anything. Clap. Jorah annoys me, but hey, he became a bodyguard again, and the Harpies' attack was pretty awesome. Taking over the whole Colosseum. But it just reminded me of Star Wars.
Around the survivors, a perimeter create.
But the graphics were pretty amazing, I think, everybody can admit, and the dragon looked pretty awesome. I think she could have shared her dragon. There was many other people, in the middle of the centre, just waiting about, wanting to get away. Yeah. Seems like there was plenty of dragon to go round. No? Just her on her own. Very good. Off you fly, love. See you later. I'll pick you guys up in a minute. I'm totally coming back. Overall, the episode was good, and it feels like I'm only saying that because of all the CGI and the massive fight scene at the end. But you've got to expect that from the end of the season of Game of Thrones, so if I'm saying I just want political conversation done well, that's for earlier in the season maybe, and they didn't do it well then. There was a bit of boring political stuff in this one, and yeah, I feel like they're just not getting the pacing of the slower stuff right. But the CGI was awesome, so I'm happy with that. Let's look at some tweets. At Dan_Richards02. Cannot believe it's the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones already. I can. Honestly, it's dragged on. And I don't want to be saying that because it's Game of Thrones and you want to just be eating up every episode and enjoying every little morsel of it all, but... At Patricia Mooney _, Spicy Kaneki. Why do I feel like Melisandre had something to do with that fire to force Stannis' hand? I very much agree. I like that. When I read that, I was thinking that's so true. She's out and about, and over her shoulder does fire come burning. And that's what she's all about. She did look shocked though, so I doubt it was to do with her. But then again, she could probably just use that in a self-prophesized way of saying, yeah, Lord of Fire says, burn your daughter. At Scott Smith 2012. Would someone please tell Melisandre that it's snowing? Her cleavage didn't get the memo. Fine. Check him out, boys. Lord of Light keeps me warm. Of course. Do you think if Thoughts on Thrones wants to get more viewers, I should just start, just like, woo? Sorry about that. At Pixel Factor. Now operating over 700 routes in all of the 7 kingdoms. Well, that's everything. One more episode to go. If you've got any thoughts, #Thoughts on Thrones. Otherwise, we'll see you next week for the finale. Have a good week.